Are you tired of critics telling you your movie is terrible? Come to Wyoming.
You can make a movie however you damn well please in Wyoming.
Do you want to just say Holocaust and pretend it's funny? Well, Wyoming might be the place for you.
Do you want to cast actors that really shouldn't fit the roles you're casting them in? Well, that's good old Wyoming.
Do you think that Tara Reid makes a great scientist and raves should be held in the middle of the day on a deserted island? Well, come to Wyoming.
How about them critics who might not like the way Wyoming does stuff? Well, hell, you just get them in the ring and knock their block off in Wyoming.
The preceding message was not sponsored or endorsed by anyone from Wyoming. However, it was endorsed by someone who can be described as ooey.
You know when I pick a movie, that's when I'm under pressure now. The question always comes back to me, what were they thinking now? Whoa, what were they thinking? What were they thinking?
Welcome to a new episode of the first episode of the new year.
And it had to be one that was done under duress.
We are ringing in the new year with, I don't even know if I want to call it a movie. So, we won't. But we are ringing in the new year with our Patreon, one of our Patreon picks from good old Luke over at GameItAll.com. He apparently signed up to kill us?
Make us, I don't know.
Oh, you know what? Hey, it's your dime. You wanna sign up and give us? Well, you can give us whatever you want, except for a Serbian film and Salo.
I told Patty when I was watching this that from one of our Patreons, and she said, "Well, the customer's always right." I was like, "No, not in this case. All kinds are wrong."
Proof. Yeah. This above anything is proof that is not always the case. But Luke, we love you. Thank you for your patronage, and we are going to talk about the 2007 in Germany anyway, but 2008 to us North Americans, ladies and gentlemen, Uwe Boll's Postal.
Uwe Boll.
Well, let's lay down the cast here first of all, because we got Zach Ward, Dave Foley,
J.K. Simmons.
Yep, J.K. Simmons, Uwe himself,
Ugh.
Vern Troyer.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, it's an all-star cast. There's a lot of people in this movie.
It's the dude who was running like the convenience store, the bodega.
Oh,
he's been in a ton of stuff.
Yeah, Eric Avery. He's in like Mr. Deeds and stuff.
Yeah.
Which I want to say right off the bat, he's definitely doing a super racist accent because I've heard his real voice.
Yeah, he's got like a British accent, doesn't he?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, he's done it before. He put on the accent when he did Encino Man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which I would have rather watched.
Never saw it.
And as a matter of fact, when I was looking for this movie to watch, I was checking through all my streaming services, and I was going through Tubi and looking at all the just terrible, terrible movies that they had and how much I would rather watch any one of those. When I was going through all the titles on Tubi.
When I was going through every movie that ever existed in the history of the universe,
there was a movie literally called Anything Else. And I would rather watch anything else, figuratively and literally, than watch this movie.
First of all, I want to note that, don't worry, Nathan, because this movie didn't do great.
Good.
The budget for this movie was $15 million.
What?
If you don't know, would you like to venture and guess how much money this movie made?
$100. $100.
More than that.
2 million.
$146,741.
Good.
So what happened was, Uwe Boll being Uwe Boll
Made a movie and everyone hated it.
Yes.
The end.
What were they thinking? No. So, of course, there's a very controversial scene right at the beginning of the film, which we'll talk about in a second. But basically, because of that scene, he was set to have a wide release for this film with 1,500 screens. At the last second, every theater except for 21 of them pulled out. So it opened on 21 North American screens instead of 1,500.
It's kind of satisfying, actually.
Exactly. I thought that was would be a nice uplifting way to start this.
It's a good way to start this.
According to Iwi himself, the German fan club for the Postal video game contacted him, bullshit, about directing a film adaptation of the game. He wanted to do it because of the game's premise and political incorrectness, but inexplicably decided to throw out the script that was given to him by the creators, or at least their pitch, and decided to turn it into a comedy and platform for his own views and revenge against any of his past critics, which of course is very subtle in the movie if you can't catch it. What I think is interesting too. So obviously it makes it to the Razzies, the biggest night in show business.
Yeah.
Nominated for worst director and wins. Which he's also nominated for like 4 other films, like Tunnel Rats and some other movies. And it's also nominated, but does not win, for worst supporting actor for both Uwe Boll and Vern Troyer. And the last thing here I just wanted to mention is, the last couple things. So there's an interview with Dave Foley on the AV Club, I believe.
Yeah.
And he said, when they were making the movie, he tried really hard to convince Uwe not to do the 9/11 cold open here, but because he told him, he's like, if you do that, you're gonna get a lesser release, like it's gonna happen. So he said, no, it's fine. He kept it in, and of course that's what happened. So Dave Foley, voice of reason, listen to the guy. He's just a kid in the hall, hanging out in the hallway. And the last thing is, in 2013, Uwe Boll announced that he was funding production of Postal 2 through Kickstarter. However, he said this is the thing. He said the funds raised would be used to buy drugs and hookers for the actors and real guns. He also said that the plot would involve Honey Boo Boo being executed by a firing squad. However, the project was canceled on October 5th of the same year due to lack of funding. And
interest.
Yep.
Ugh.
And human decency. Well, let's sooner done. What is your thing that you like to say?
This sooner begun, sooner done.
Sooner begun, sooner done. So let's get to Postal.
Pitter patter, let's get at her. Don't bore us, get to the chorus.
There you go. How do we open the movie Postal, Nathan?
With some just stellarly fantastic Islamophobic 9/11 jokes. Couple of dudes flying a plane.
Okay.
Talking about the amount of virgins that they're going to get.
Okay. It's not like taking place on a specific day in history, though, right?
September 11th.
2005?
1.
Oh.
Yep.
So yeah, guys, we open with the terrorists on 9/11 driving the plane, heading for, I guess, the World Trade Center.
Yes, because there's a guy who's cleaning the windows. And if this, just doesn't set the tone for the movie, I don't know what does. Because they make it out to be that the tragedy on 9/11 was a comical mishap of errors that, the pilots had changed their mind because they were informed that they were going to get maybe 20 virgins for their sacrifice, and so they were going to go to Bermuda. And then just as they had decided that they were going to avert the disaster, the folks who were in the plane, the passengers and the crew, burst through the door, take over, a struggle ensues, they lose control of the plane, and they crash into the buildings. Fucking hilarious.
Oh, here's the thing. You can have an offensive comedy, and it could still be funny.
Yes.
However, you can't just say something offensive to shock people with no joke and expect people to just take it.
It's hey, it's funny.
Yeah. He's literally like, 9/11 was a funny thing. Okay, go on. No, that's it. My God. So after this, we get the opening, which takes place in Paradise, Arizona, I think is where it is.
That is in Canada.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Vancouver, 100%.
Yeah, but they say Paradise, Arizona, trailer park, birthplace of Axl Rose.
Yeah, that was weird.
Trying to be funny.
I don't know. What's the joke? That he's a hick?
Oh! He's white trash and a disaster.
I'm slapping my knee.
Right?
That is the height of comedy.
Yeah.
So yeah, birthplace of Axl Rose, Paradise, Arizona. We open with Zach Ward. Well, I guess we don't open, but this is the movie. This is the movie starting. So we get Zach Ward playing a guy that is never named. He's just the dude from Postal.
Yeah.
Or the Postal dude or whatever. He's got a comically fat wife.
Who doesn't start out that way.
No.
We get treated to the fact that he married her when she was young, pretty, and thin, and over 10 years she just got bigger and bigger and is like a disgusting person who cheats on him.
Yeah. I'm assuming you get to see that he married her when she was thin, so you don't say, ew, who would marry a fat person? That's Uwe Boll.
I mean, even if that's the case, like, it's something that he would do.
Zach Ward's character?
No, do Uwe Boll.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's him saying like, "Oh, I would never have my main character knowingly enter into a relationship with someone who's overweight. We better show everyone that she was thin once."
Yeah.
Because he, above all else, is a sensitive man. Mm-hmm. Get at us on Twitter. Unblock us. Come at us, bro.
So she's watching, like, Jerry Springer or something.
Oh.
Like, they're just really playing up the
trailer park.
Yeah, the whole trailer park thing.
Even worse is Zach Ward is watching all these, like, fake TV clips, and they're terrible.
Yeah.
They're, like, embarrassingly unfunny. Almost to the point of, like, I'm not sure if it's supposed to be funny because I don't know what the joke is.
Well, I'm guessing everything in this is supposed to be society to the extreme.
Yeah.
But
then
the problem with that is that if everything is to the extreme, then the part that's supposed to be to the extreme to make the joke funny makes it less effective.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing. If everything like this happens all the time, then how does it really stick out?
Right.
The thing too is like there are weird moments where like there's stuff, people get shot in the head in the middle of the street and like no one gives a fuck. But then you get things like people talking about like, "Whoa, I remember when you got me in trouble and I was arrested." Okay, yeah. But what? Like, what do you have to do to get arrested in this town? Like murder an entire village? Like,
what did he do to get everyone chasing after him?
Postal dude?
Yeah.
I think they just said that he killed a bunch of people. I don't know.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm sure it's in my notes at some point.
Yeah.
So.
Well, so
yeah.
Zach Ward or dude or whatever the hell you want to call him, he has the Eddie Furlong ability of having full conversations with dogs.
Yep.
I noticed that was one thing I wrote down. I was like, gotta stay sane, gotta make notes, gotta keep my wits about me. But he has a little conversation with his dog, who I would argue is probably giving the best performance in the movie.
No poo-poos in the yard.
Yep. The dog was my favorite. He had the most charisma.
Yeah.
He argues with his hick neighbor, who again.
Okay, so I got questions about this guy.
Okay.
All right, and I don't give a shit that I'm jumping all over the place in this movie because. So he comes out and he's complaining, basically instigating with Zach Ward's character, saying, "Your dog can't poop in the yard. I'm putting in a complaint." Right? Okay. So, and then there's other things too. It's like, "Oh, I heard you guys banging after 10 o'clock in the morning. That's something I can send in a complaint about." So I'm sending in a complaint about that.
That doesn't make any sense to me. Why 10 in the morning?
Yeah. First of all, that's not how noise ordinances work. That aside, all this stuff where he's complaining that he's going to send in, complaints to whoever runs the trailer park. At a later point in the movie, we see he has like a house in the trailer park. The fuck is that? 2. He says to the folks who were there at the time, "Get off my property," meaning the trailer park is his property. So why is he sending complaints to himself? Because if you live in a trailer park, you don't own the property. If you live in a trailer park, you pay lot fees. It's like living in it's like living in a condo, I suppose, because you pay your maintenance fees, but you pay your lot fees. I mean, so the property is not yours. The building, the mini home or the trailer or whatever you're living in is yours, but the land that it sits on is not.
Right.
So, if the land is that guy's property, he owns the trailer park.
Right. I'm on board. I believe I'm 100% there with you.
So I think that I found the one inconsistency within this movie.
We have cracked the script.
Right. So, Zach, he takes a big mouthful of sour milk as he's getting ready to leave, and his lovely wife yells, "Don't forget to get the welfare check.
Go see your Uncle Dave."
Yeah, because everyone who lives in trailer parks are collecting welfare.
Ah.
Fuck this movie.
It's a social.
Fuck this movie.
It's a social statement.
Yeah, in that it's the statement that Uwe Boll likes to paint everything with as broad a brush as possible.
Actually, Nathan, I don't think we get it. It's satire. So at this point, I have to ask: do you think Uwe Boll has a picture of like J.K. Simmons fucking a donkey or something? Because otherwise, I don't know how he got him in this movie.
I don't know how he got half the people in this movie. Okay, Zach Ward, I kind of understand. Okay, his big thing is he was on Titus and he was in Anne of Green Gables.
And Scott Farkas.
Okay. So, there's that. I understand him signing on, "I'll take the paycheck and work this garbage movie because it's going to pay my rent."
You know, I kind of understand Dave Foley too, though, because he had a lot of money issues at that time.
Okay, fine. But you're right. J.K. Simmons should not be in this movie. He is a far better actor than this movie deserves.
Well, his part is he's running for mayor, and so basically he's just setting up a little post. He's yelling about all these conspiracy theories that he has, and that's about it for him.
Yeah, he's the fuck you party.
Yeah, the fuck you party. Outside of this convenience store, owned by, as we mentioned, that actor Eric Avery, who you might know from Mr. Deeds, and what was the other film you said?
A million far better movies.
Yeah.
Encino Man. He was in Mr. Deeds.
Who has a British accent, but in this movie, he talks like this. And I'm being a lot less offensive than the accent he uses.
I feel that the direction was be a poo as much as possible.
Yep.
So,
but
and the whole thing with the coffee, like Zach Ward is dressed like Michael Douglas and falling down. This movie wishes it was falling down.
Yeah. Yeah. So he has all these terrorists in the back of his store because, of course, he does. And they're planning this big attack. And he said it's going to happen tomorrow, and we don't know what it is yet, but it's going to be
The shipment.
It's going to be a shipment, and it's gonna change the world. And we're like, okay, cool.
They will skewer the genitals of the infidels or something.
Yeah. So Zach Ward's trying to get a job. He goes to a job interview
At Glutco.
which again, that could have been a funny joke if they did anything with it, but they don't.
But that's it. Like, it's the company that he's applying to work at is, I'm guessing, is supposed to represent just faceless, gluttonous corporations in general. And the joke starts out fine at first, but then gets to be just so goddamn ridiculous that it's like, okay, this isn't funny or biting at all anymore.
No, so you have Rick Hoffman, the actor playing the job interviewer, who you may know from a few movies. He's in I remember, for some reason I remember him from that Stone Cold Steve Austin movie, The Condemned.
He was also in Hostel.
Yeah, Hostel.
Both of those movies infinitely better than this movie.
Yeah, agreed.
At one point, there's heads on pikes because they're supposed to represent the people that he climbed over to get to where he's at in the company. Zach Ward looks and says, he's like shocked. And the guy's like, they're paper mache. And then you see a pretend bit of blood come out of one of the heads. That's kind of a funny joke, I guess, in a Family Guy kind of way. But it keeps ramping up from there. The chair he sits in is clearly broken. And rather than be like, okay, well, we can't keep playing this for serious if he's going to do that. So the interviewer could be like, oh, take another chair. The joke in this situation, I feel, should have been every chair was broken while they're doing the interview, rather than being like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Because that's essentially the attitude that he was getting from him and the lady who were conducting the interview was what the fuck's wrong with you? Can't you get your chair together and shit? It's your chair, asshole.
Satire.
So then they start asking him the questions. One of them being, what's the difference between a duck?
Yep. Can you answer that, Nathan? Do you know the difference between a duck?
Hilarious. Fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it's just basically a series of non sequiturs as questions. Not even non sequiturs. Like, they don't make any sense at all. And
they start off fine.
Yeah.
Like, there's like, what's your biggest strength? And he says something, and she says, wrong. That's funny. Okay, I get that, because they're supposed to be open-ended questions that get asked at interviews that aren't supposed to have any real wrong answer. They're just supposed to be there for the interviewer to cull information as to who you are from what you say to these questions. There's not supposed to be a right or wrong answer.
Oh, by the way, can I just say what I wrote down about Rick Hoffman?
Wrong.
Can I say what I wrote down?
Sure.
Rick Hoffman, when Jeremy Piven won't return your calls.
Ah.
But he's basically playing Ari Gold.
He does that in a lot of movies, though.
That's true. That's what I mean. He's very Jeremy Piven-esque.
Okay. Man, if he had been in Judgment Night...
would have been not quite as good, because I really like Jeremy Piven in that movie.
He was good. An ace hole. Oh, man, that's such... Remember when we watched that movie?
That was a long time ago.
So good.
Man, remember when we watched Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Man, it was so much better comparatively to this.
Oh, remember when we watched Muck?
Okay, we're about on par there. They're both fucking unredeemable, irredeemable, whatever the word is.
So, anyway, this job interview thing happens. He doesn't get the job because he does the fight. They have a fight song. He
doesn't get the job, but I mean, they don't say that because there's 120 other people that they have to interview.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be Uwe's commentary on the shitty economy and work or employment availability in the U.S. at the time, I guess. Hilarious.
Good joke.
Yeah. This is Republican humor, isn't it?
Like Uwe, I don't know, because like he kind of thrashes the other side too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's definitely not saying nice things about Bush.
No.
So I think it's just anarchy humor. Like, I think he doesn't like anything.
Oh, so he's
So I'm saying that Uwe Boll is an anarchist. He's the Antichrist.
If you think I'm gonna defend or tell you to stop bagging on the Sex Pistols, not, because I don't like them either.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah. I'm a big punk rock guy, but I do not like the Sex Pistols.
Hot take.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we gotta get past this job interview scene, because this goes on for a while.
Yeah,
so he
far
doesn't
too
get the
long.
job.
It ends with the fight song, which is the company fight song, which is just a song about how if you work in a cubicle, that you're going to die alone and regretful.
So we move on to Uncle Dave. Uncle Dave Foley is at his compound. He's basically this like cult leader. And we meet his assistant Richie, played by Chris Coppola. What?
The name of the company's Doom, or the religion or whatever. It was like denomination of organic something. I can't remember now, but it's the acronym is Doom. Please do go on about his assistant.
Yeah, his assistant is named Richie, played by Chris Coppola, who I don't believe is related to any of the famous Coppolas. I did look this up. Is the most annoying performance in this movie.
That's saying a lot.
I will stand by that. He is... Man.
Not even the mentally challenged Al-Qaeda member?
No,
Okay.
This is the worst. By the way, this took me 2 times to finish it, because I got halfway through and I was like, you know what, that's enough for now.
I watched the whole thing.
I hope you had a stiff drink.
Nope.
Sober?
Sober.
Oh,
I got fucked up afterwards.
Oh boy. Well, anyway, Uncle Dave is, like I said, he's a cult leader. His assistant basically tells him, "Listen, we owe a bunch of money in back taxes, so you have to pay everything off or go to jail." Also, we see Dave Foley's penis.
Yep, and that Dave Foley's penis is so much of a better actor than this movie deserves.
Dave Foley's penis gets the "I'm trying to save this thing" award.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's going on the ballot.
That's a nominee.
It's a nominee. Are they? This is supposed to be a church, right?
Yeah, sort of. It's his church.
Right. And they've got kind of a big compound, yeah?
It looks like they filmed it at a medieval times restaurant.
Possibly. But he's going on about what they owe in back taxes. If this is a legitimate church and that he has like a Bible and followers and everything, I feel that the tax exempt status would have been taken care of long ago.
Yeah, well, Uwe explains that in the script by having Chris Coppola say, "Oh yeah, we still need to pay it."
'Cause reasons.
Yep.
Oh, actually, if we could just get Brent. Brent, could you just tell us why the tax exempt organization has to pay the taxes?
Plot. Let's get through the next 3 things really quick, because they're just a bunch of sketch-tastic things here.
Yes.
Uwe likes to throw in a bunch of random shit. So there's a guy that asks Zach Ward for change, goes on a rant about helping less fortunate people. This isn't like a joke scene. Like, I didn't know what the joke was here.
Yeah, no, it did nothing. It was just to set up that Zach Ward's character is constantly hassled and will often run away from confrontation.
We get a couple of cops, one of which is super racist and shoots an Asian woman in the face.
That dude looked like New Jack.
Then we get
The old
great...
men.
Yeah. Oh, that was disgusting. Also, they said, so this bit with the old men, there's these 2 old men outside the coffee shop, and one of them says, something like, "Oh, someone thought jizz was medicine and was giving it to someone,
No.
and the person got AIDS."
Okay, here it is. That scene is from later, but I know what you're talking about, and again, I don't give a shit about jumping around in this movie.
Just do it. Just do it.
So, the two old guys who are supposed to be kind of like disgusting old men, but that look like sweet grandpas, but talk like dirty old men.
Comedy staple, hilarious.
Played by a couple of guys who I'm sure I've seen and stuff. And
one of the guys looked really familiar.
Deserve way better than this movie.
Yeah.
They talk about how I knew I had this girl, or I knew this girl that she thought semen was medicine.
Yeah.
So she loved to suck cock. She had 3 kids, and she'd put it in their baby formulas as well because she thought it was medicine.
Yep.
And they all got AIDS.
And then the other person says, "Was she gay? Or was the person gay?" I thought he said.
I don't know.
Implying that all gay people have AIDS. And then he said, "The Pope wears a dress, doesn't he?"
Ugh.
Hilarious.
Hilarious.
So funny. So yeah, so the sketch. Okay, so the other thing was the guy at the coffee shop complaining about his drink, and then takes forever to order, and then the barista yells at him. Hilarious. By the way, the barista played by Jackie Tone, who you might know from Glow,
and again,
but deserves much better.
Much better.
Yeah. So after those series of sketches, not even worth airing on the worst seasons of Mad TV. The dude goes to Uncle Dave's compound and finds out about, his money problems. And he's like, "Gotta help me out." He's like, "I don't want to help you out. Scene over. We don't need to go into it anymore."
Yeah.
Because then we get the great scene at the welfare office.
Ugh.
Right?
Yeah.
Zach Ward is there. There's a major shootout. Which, by the way, this movie has some of the most boring shootouts I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's like the anti-Heat. So Zach Ward is like crawling around, switching numbers with a bunch of like people that have been shot so he can get to the offices sooner.
Yep.
And yeah, there's like this Japanese dude who's clinging to life on his number, but he dies. So.
And then, so when old Zach stands up with number 25, that's next, the lady calls number 25, and he gets up there, he's like, "Haha, here we go, here's my number. Oh, we're closed."
Yeah.
The
Do you get it? Because they close early sometimes if they can, because they're lazy government workers.
And not even that. If she was calling a number, why the fuck would you call a number and then say we're closed? Like, your joke doesn't make sense. It's not funny because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you have to root it in some kind of reality.
Yes, there has to be some reality and then an extreme. That's how a joke works. It can't just be like random shit, let's throw it against the wall because it's hilarious.
You can't just have extreme, 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 even more extreme. Like, that's not how it works.
Yeah. The way that joke would have been made much funnier is if they had the office shootout, which, again, so funny, especially in this day and age. Everything was extreme. He's crawling around. He's stealing numbers. He gets the number. He gets up. He gives her the number, and she processes it in the most mundane, clerical way. Like, this happens all the time. That's a funny joke. Because the extreme comes down to be rooted into the reality.
I will even say they kind of do that a little bit when they're shooting and a bunch of bullets hit the window and the woman just like doesn't even look up. Like, that's kind of amusing.
Yeah.
That it's like, oh yeah, okay. It's so like, oh, this has happened so many times, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. But yeah, the other stuff doesn't work at all.
No.
So Zach Ward goes home. He finds his gross neighbor having sex with his gross wife.
Mm-hmm. He's got a cock pump.
Yep, and he's got, like, baby powder. It's just UV Bowl trying to be as gross as
so
possible.
He can find the wet spot.
Enter Osama bin Laden.
Fuck. Before we meet him, though, Zach Ward calls his uncle and says, "I'm in."
Oh yeah, and he accidentally shoots the. Isn't this where he accidentally shoots the guy asking for change too?
Yes, because the guy's like, "I want," and he pulls the gun on him while he's on the phone, and they struggle for the gun for a ridiculous amount of time, and then he shoots the guy.
While Dave Foley is endlessly trying to improvise about like air miles or something.
Yeah, talking about like reward miles, and they're, you try to use them and they're blacked out every time. And
wait a second, I know exactly why Dave Foley did this movie. There are like 3 scenes of him just laying in bed touching ladies' boobs.
well, there's some benefits, I guess, to being in this movie.
And if he had just gone through his divorce just before this, I'm sure that was probably a thing that he wanted to do. But yeah, so and then Osama bin Laden is doing like one of his like
Videos.
terrorist messages, yeah. With an accent, but then as soon as we cut, it's like a Hollywood-esque film crew, and all of a sudden bin Laden is just like an American dude with like brown face on.
Think of Ben Kingsley. I'm going further with this. In Iron Man 3. It's that type situation.
This movie is painful.
Why do I have a thing about here about lactose intolerance?
Osama bin Laden is lactose intolerant. He
Okay.
Oh, this is also where we meet the terrorist that can't talk. He's like, I guess he's supposed to be mentally challenged.
Yeah.
Which, of course, they liberally use the R word over and over and over again.
Yes.
Because why not? And he gets treated like shit. So, anyway, bin Laden, there's not a lot here. He just says there's going to be a giant attack.
Well, no, they lay out that what's this?
Well, I think we hear from Zach Ward and Dave first.
Oh yes, because they have
figure out that there's these crotchy dolls.
Crotchy dolls, yeah.
Which apparently is sweeping the nation. Which doesn't make any sense to me because they are literally a penis and balls.
Yep.
And they're saying they're sweeping the nation. First of all, kids aren't going to get that because why you would not. Again, you have to establish some kind of normal baseline.
Right.
Kids are not going to have a doll shaped like a penis and balls.
Well, and that the joke I'm guessing that they're trying to shoot at here is the Tickle Me Elmo stuff, and Cabbage Patch dolls, and just how toys sweep the nation. I don't feel that they had to be like, let's make it a dick joke too.
Yeah, it's literally a dick and balls.
Like it could have just been some generic toy that's based on a cartoon, and because the joke or the sorry, not joke, but I mean the plot device that they're going to be using it for is to help spread the, and I quote, avian bird flu, which is the bird flu.
Bird flu.
Yeah, the bird flu. So it doesn't need to look like a cock. It doesn't need to be called crotchy. It just fuck this movie.
And like I said, it doesn't make any sense because like kids would not have that doll, and you're not gonna, and those dolls are not gonna be like, adults are not gonna buy them for themselves.
Right.
It's not like it also functions as a dildo.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just like there's no, give me something to fucking latch onto. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And this is the part where like J.K. Simmons is still stomping on his soapbox for mayor, and the terrorist cell in the back of the convenience store are getting nervous because they think he knows stuff or something.
Yeah, I don't understand that either.
Yeah, I don't either. But anyhow, we find out here that the fellow who owns the convenience store is hilariously named Habib. You know what? I heard that joke all the time on Married with Children when I was growing up. I've heard it in this movie. I've heard it several times in other places. I have never met a person named Habib.
Nope, me neither.
Okay. I'm not saying that there isn't anybody named Habib. I just don't feel that it's as common as this stereotype likes to put forward in the jokes. So, yeah, a guy suicide bombs J.K. Simmons while he's running for mayor. Hilarious. Like, just so funny.
Yeah, he even does the cartoony, like, black, like, explosion gunpowder in his face or whatever.
As he's sliding down the window.
Basically a cartoon.
Yeah. You know, we've talked about this before. When we watch movies like Thrashin' or even Demons of Ludlow, you know, where it's like they're not comedies, but they're fun and funny to watch because of how maybe ineptly they're made. But because they're not trying to be funny, they're unintentionally funny, and that's what really makes it fun. The worst part about this stuff in this movie is that this is all supposed to be funny. And there's nothing more unfunny than an unfunny comedy.
No, a bad comedy is the worst.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But, you know, we haven't offended everyone yet, Nathan, so we better start offending handicapped people too.
Yes. That hang out next to Canada Post mailboxes
Right.
and panhandle.
In Arizona.
Right.
So, Zach Ward is basically like, okay, so they decide that they're going to need to get a truck because they're going to need to go to this place called Little Germany, this little event, and steal all the crotchy dolls. There's 100,000 crotchy dolls left.
Yep.
And they're going to sell them because they sell for like $4,000 each or whatever.
Oh, okay, so if I'm remembering correctly from the movie, again, sober when I watched it, the original shipment of crotchy dolls were on a boat that sunk, and only 100,000 crotchy dolls were saved. One of them went on sale at an auction house and sold for
4,000.
Was it $4,000?
Mm-hmm.
And so their plan is to steal all these crotchy dolls and sell them on eBay or at auction houses for $4,000.
Right.
They plan on making, like, you know, was it $40 million out of the whole thing?
A couple asses load of money.
Yeah. Right.
That's their plan.
Yep.
I actually just so just before I mentioned like they gotta insult the handicapped people too, but just before that, there is a scene here where Zach Ward is walking towards the place where he's gonna steal the truck, and a black dude just steals a woman's purse in the background.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the scene.
That's it. Yep.
There's no joke. It literally, a black dude shows up, punches a woman in the face, steals her purse, and runs off while like just in the background of the scene. I honestly, I was like, at that point in the movie, I was like, what? Yep. So we get there's a homeless man, well, not homeless, but there's a handicapped man, or he's not even just like he's in a wheelchair. He's like a vegetable, like he's got a feeding tube and everything.
He's quadriplegic, or
Yeah.
at the very least, severely paraplegic.
Yeah.
And just
Zach Ward uses him as a stepping stool.
Oh my! Fucking hilarious.
Great. Gets into the truck he's gonna steal, and then all of a sudden, oh, look at this! What's this? It's one of the cops from earlier in the movie, the one that shot the Asian woman.
Yeah, it shows up and at first I thought he was shaking him down.
Well, that's kind of what he does.
He is what he's doing, right? But we come to find out that it's not actually a shakedown, but he's a panhandler pimp.
Which he says, "Oh, you got to start making $23 a day." You're a police officer. Why would you need someone to make you $23 a day?
Right?
That, again, there's no point of like, I don't get the joke because this isn't a thing.
Yeah. We find out Harry sleeps in his garage.
Yeah, Harry is the name of the man in the wheelchair. That's right. And he, it's just basically there to shock people. Like, that's all it is.
Yep. Oh, sorry, Harry. I forgot it gets cold in my garage. Here's your blanket, and he throws it over his face.
Yeah. So, back to the terrorist cell. Mm-hmm. Because we have to talk about the appearance of George W. Bush.
Yes. And this is where I'll the Al Qaeda folks are basically having the same idea
About
as
the crotchy dolls.
with the crotchy dolls, except instead of selling them, they're going to use them to spread the bird flu.
Bird flu, right. So Osama's like, hold on, I'm getting a call from George Bush. Nothing really happens on this call.
Well, he calls him
It's just-
GW.
He calls him GW. The guy, I gotta say, the guy's doing a pretty bad Bush impression. It's like, it's not horrible, but it's not great.
It's not Sam Rockwell in Vice.
Or even like Will Ferrell or Will Forte, like it's not even like a comedy show worthy level.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got the basic thing. Anyway, he said the hilarious joke in this scene is that he says, "I'll have Laura write up something. You know how I am with spelling. He."
And then he throws a model plane into 2 Lego towers.
Get it? Do you guys get it? It's like 9/11.
Because it was an inside job.
Ha! Ha 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 ha. Is this the worst Uwe Boll movie ever?
Yes.
Wow.
100%. Because it's trying to be funny. I would watch, as much as I don't care for Uwe Boll as a person, for all the stuff that he says and all the things that he does, I can watch House of the Dead and have a fun time. Because he's trying really hard and he's failing so bad. Same thing with Alone in the Dark.
Yeah.
He's trying so hard but failing so bad. And I can laugh my ass off at that. This, he's trying, but he's trying to be funny, which makes me not laugh my ass off. Because there's nothing so unfunny as somebody who is unfunny trying to be funny.
But, I mean, it'll only get better from here, Nathan, because Vern Troyer just showed up in the movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
I feel for him. I really do, though, because I know he had, like, R.I.P. obviously Vern Troyer, but he dealt with a lot of depression in his life,
Yep.
and part of that stemmed from the fact that these are the only roles he could get,
Yeah.
like jokey roles about how he was small.
The worst part about it is the scene that sets up his introduction. He gets let off a bus. He's supposed to be taking a bus to Little Germany because he does the voice of Crotchy. Mm-hmm. And they let him off in, well, not the middle of nowhere, but 8 miles from the city he's supposed to be in.
Right.
And he has to push his suitcase because his suitcase is bigger than him.
Ah! Also, like, I'm pretty sure that whole scene, so he gets dropped off because basically they're trying to mess with his transportation so that when he does arrive in Little Germany, all the security and everything will be distracted by how mad he is.
Yeah.
But the scene where he gets dropped off in the middle of nowhere and he's, like, talking like, 8 miles, what the fuck, I'm an international superstar, all that stuff. The shot is from so far away that he's clearly not saying it in the scene.
Yeah.
But so that means that instead of just having a shot of him getting off the bus and being like, and having that 8 miles sign, which is enough of a joke as it is, he had to add all that fucking unnecessary dialogue.
Yeah, an ADR.
Yeah, there's so much unnecessary dialogue and ADR in this movie. I'm like, that's the joke. Just, like, take out all the extra stuff. You don't need it. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like...
It's a hat on a hat, essentially.
Yeah. But, you know what? I gotta give it to Uwe Boll here because not only is he probably the worst director of all time, but he's also one of the worst actors of all time. Because he shows up at the Little Germany thing. He's being interviewed. He talks about how he's making a new movie with Vern Troyer. He talks about how he's sexually aroused by children.
He also they eat at a place called Hasselhoff Sausages.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Let's not go past that, though. He said he was sexually aroused by the children in the audience.
Yep. He talks about how his movies, his hit movies, you know, if you put an S in front of that, you'll get exactly what I think of his movies. Thank you, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Wrestling reference. Got it in there.
Yeah.
So he says rumors that my movies are sponsored by Nazi gold, and they are. So, first of all, yeah, he's using Nazi plunder to make his terrible movies. Hilarious.
Yep. Great job. Because he's German, get it?
Because he's German, exactly. There's a lady in the audience who doesn't find it funny because her grandfather died at Auschwitz. And he's like, well, my grandfather died at Auschwitz too. Yeah, he fell out of an observatory tower. Basically saying, oh, his grandfather was a Nazi guard at a concentration camp.
Ha!
We're going to push past this because all the bimbos from Doom, the Dave Foley's cult, have all showed up. They're there because they're going to execute their heist plan. They're all dressed as Nazis.
Of course, they have Hitler mustaches.
Made with electrical tape.
Yep.
And so they need to cause a distraction with the guards. So they send in the Nazi girls to give them a god job, as Dave Foley called it.
One of the guards takes a poopy in one of their mouths.
At one point, someone asks if someone is retarded and queer.
They steal the crotchy dolls. Terrorists show up. Another big shootout.
Well, the terrorists don't know how... First of all, the terrorists don't know how they're going to get in.
Right.
Because they can't get in. The door's not open. So someone throws... the mentally challenged Al-Qaeda guy throws the rope that they might use to scale the wall over the wall as like a bundled rope.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hilarious.
So...
there's more dead Jewish jokes. Because he pays Vern Troyer with gold teeth taken from the mouths of Holocaust victims.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck.
But then the creator of Postal, the video game, makes an appearance as himself. And by the way, if you have a cameo in a movie, okay, this really pissed me off. If you have a cameo...
Giving sound life advice from Brendan. Take it away.
If you have a cameo in your movie from someone that you expect people to recognize as a cameo, be like, oh, it's them. It's not a cameo anymore if you have to fucking have a chyron on the screen saying what their goddamn name is and who they are.
I've seen it work once in a movie.
But not in this regard.
Not in this regard, no. It worked once in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Yeah, because it was done as an ironic way.
Yeah, because everyone knew that was Mark Hamill.
You know it's Mark Hamill. That's part of the joke. Hey kids, it's Mark Hamill. But if you have to put like Vince or whatever the fuck his name was, video game creator, then no, that's not funny.
No.
Also, if you want to make it more of a rewarding experience, don't put his name on the screen so that people who do know what he is will be like, oh, it really is him.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the only part of this movie I didn't like.
Yeah, So what you're saying is the part where they literally tossed Vern Troyer was enjoyable.
Oh, yeah, that was Oscar worthy.
The shootout starts, and I really wanted someone to fucking shoot Uwe so bad.
And he does get shot in the crotch.
And that person later on went on to win World Marksmanship Awards. It's the only way you're hitting that fucking target.
That's right. And then we get, as Uwe gets shot in the crotch, he says, I hate video games, as if that's supposed to be our moment of like, oh guys, do you get it? Because he only directs video game movies and they're all terrific.
He wanted this whole thing to be meta and hilarious, and it just failed.
Yeah. I've never seen a movie fail this badly.
Yeah.
At everything it tries.
You know, every time we see a movie like a Nick Fury, and we say, bottom of the barrel, this is the worst. Can't get any worse. Someone throws us a pickaxe and a shovel and says, keep on digging.
Well, I lay down the gauntlet for this one, Nathan. It's gonna be a bit. It's gonna be a while.
Yeah. So, Vern Troyer gets locked in his suitcase.
Yeah, by that annoying Richie guy.
Right. and he's got to be able to see what's going on, so he grabs a glowing dildo.
Yep. And he has lines like, "I'm in my fucking suitcase."
Mm-hmm.
As if, in case we didn't know where he was.
Right.
There's
Smokes
all
some
kinds
weed
of lines
and says
like
like,
that.
"Well, this helps.
Yeah.
This
It's
definitely helps."
You could have just been in the suitcase and smoked the weed and made a facial reaction. There's your joke.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need all that. Again, it's unnecessary dialogue. That is the only thing plaguing this movie.
We paid Vern Troyer. We're gonna use him.
Gosh damn it, we're going to use what he's known for. Monologues. So, eventually, they make it out of there with Vern Troyer in tow, like Zach Ward, Dave Foley, all those, and the girls. They make it back, but oh, look at this. The terrorists have taken over their compound.
Oh, before we get to that, to the whole Doomsday Bunker, we do get another treatment of, the shit news shows that are supposed to be a political commentary, and they're just not. Because they're covering the massacre at Little Germany.
With all the children being killed.
Right. And so someone's watching that, and then they change the channel, and they're watching a news report, and the segment is called They Had It Coming.
Yeah.
And it's about, I'm hoping, pretend victims from 9/11 and why they deserved what they got. So that's not funny.
No.
And then there's another. Oh, yes. Coming up next, Say No to Africa.
It's like... It's like this movie uses like the worst examples of like the worst. I'm not saying all Family Guy is like this. Don't get me wrong. I don't really like Family Guy that much, but that's besides the point. But there are some jokes that I laugh at. But the worst jokes on Family Guy are the ones that are just meant to shock with no like punchline.
Yeah.
And that's like this whole movie.
Yeah.
It's just like blah 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 Holocaust. Ha 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 ha. Like that's every joke.
Yep.
And by the way, hashtag, I don't know, I'm not even going to say hashtag child murder, because usually it's like when it's unintentionally funny because it's ridiculous. But in this movie, it tries to make it funny, which it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel horrible for these like child actors, because you could tell, especially the one at the end, she doesn't quite know what to do to react. Like she kind of falls like too late. And it looks really awkward. And I'm like, oh my god. Like, can you imagine these child actors, like, parents had to know what was in this scene. And they had to be like, yeah, I'm cool with that.
Never underestimate a stage parent.
Yeah.
Look at Kip Culkin.
So yeah, they get back to the compound. The terrorists have taken it over. Mm-hmm. But Richie starts to like lose his fucking mind. And he's like, we have an underground bunker.
Yep.
And they go into... Well, first, Zach Ward goes to lose the truck, and runs afoul of a bunch of people trying to kill him.
Yep.
He steals a cop's uniform, makes it back.
At one point where they're talking about the Postal dude, him, he's standing in the crowd of the news people who are talking about him. So funny. So funny.
Oh my god. So he makes it back to the compound. They sneak in, they get into the underground bunker, and then we find out...
Hold on! We're not running past this part.
I'm just trying to get to the end of the movie!
Because it made me think of you, Brendan.
What?
When Zach Ward is stealthing his way into the compound, trying to get to the door to go to the underground bunker, he picks up a cat. Mm-hmm. Sticks his gun up the cat's ass, and uses the cat as a silencer.
Yep.
And then takes the cat off the gun, and the cat's fine.
Of course. I was a little worried he was just going to kill the cat.
Yep.
And I was like, not in this movie, you don't.
So they do get into the bunker.
Yeah, Richie starts to lose his mind. This is like a really long scene.
Yeah.
of him explaining the entire plan. There's like a prophecy, and he's like, "I
Right.
read your Bible, Uncle Dave, and we're gonna let the terrorists spread the bird flu and kill everyone, and we're gonna rid this planet. And the first step is to."
Have 1,000 monkeys rape Vern Troyer.
Which happens.
Yep. Next we have a, semi-negotiation between the folks who are in this terrorist group of who's going to be the suicide bomber.
And they decide that
It's the mentally challenged guy.
because he can't talk.
Yeah. What is it he says? Something along the lines of, if you don't want to do it, raise your hand, hop up and down on one foot, and recite the Pledge of Allegiance or something like that.
Yeah.
Like some ridiculous thing that he wouldn't be able to do because, he's nonverbal. Mm-hmm. Hilarious.
So, how many times have we sarcastically said hilarious?
I don't know. We should make a drinking game out of it.
Man, I don't even have very many notes about the rest of this.
Well, Osama is at a fucking
Motivational speaker?
Motivational speaker. Yeah, how to be a more effective manager. One of the tips is putting crystal meth in water.
But again, it's a mostly jokeless scene.
Yeah.
The joke seems to be Osama bin Laden is at a motivational speaker conference.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
And he's talking about the O shape of the mouth, and I don't fucking know.
But then we do get a hilarious bit where Osama's credit card is declined because, he's Osama bin Laden. And then the next guy comes through and he says, "Hey, your card went through. You're American, even though you're black."
Yeah.
What the fuck is that trying to say?
I don't know.
And also, did
I
you
think
notice?
the only thing about the joke about his credit card being declined. Now, obviously, it's not something that you'd be able to read on the screen of a cash terminal, but God help me, it's the one kind of funny thing in this movie where the guy reads it. It's like, nope, it looks like it's been declined because several governments and international
Liquidated
people,
all your assets.
no, they've frozen all your
Frozen all your
assets.
assets,
So, and he's like, "Will you take a check? Cash
Yeah.
only."
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's
I noticed a goof here though. When he swipes the other guy's card through, like the guy after Bin Laden, he doesn't put the stripe down.
he puts the even Patty was like, they did that wrong
Yep.
because you can see the magnetic strip.
Yep.
up
Should
the
we do
wrong
another?
way.
Should we do another take, Dr. Bowl? No, it's perfect.
No, it's fine. It's a bit good, yeah.
Yeah. Make sure you say that he's black. Yeah. So the girl from the coffee shop comes back into it.
Mm-hmm.
She meets up with oh, well, actually we should say back at the compound, Richie starts to lose his mind more and more. He makes out with Dave Foley.
Yes.
Dave Foley realizes he's gay.
Yep.
Richie shoots him and says the prophecy must be fulfilled, and as he's dying he grabs a boob and says, "Okay, maybe I'm bi."
Yeah.
Which Dave Foley, like you said, he is trying.
It's the one point in the movie where he's like legitimately trying to do something worth remembering because he's like, "Wow, yeah, I guess I'm gay, and I'm a
He's
chubby
like-
chaser. Wow, this is awesome."
Yeah.
Like he's figured some stuff out, and there's some real life into the performance, and then he gets fucking shot.
Uwe Boll's like, none of that in my movie.
It's far too charismatic. Bang, you're dead and stuff.
I hope that was his direction. So in this scene, he's like, "Bang, you're dead" and stuff. So yeah, they lock up Zach Ward, although he makes it out pretty quickly. He takes the girls
because
with him.
he takes some C4 with him.
Yeah.
And he blows up a door, and what is supposed to look like the door has been splintered and blown apart, it looks like a WWE door exploded. because it's really clear where the cuts were.
Yep.
Well, like, you ever notice, like, if any of our listeners, or when you watch, like, a WWE match and someone's going through a table, you can see that, boom, that perfect straight line slice. So you could tell that the table was pre-cut so it would break away easier when the dude was slammed into it.
Yep. So he...
Zach takes off his fucking sleeves, and he's got an anarchy tattoo because he's so edgy.
With a peace shirt.
Right?
So
and the terrorists just come in one by one and one by one and one by one, and they shoot
like
them
a video
one by
game.
one. Yeah, exactly.
Then two of the girls just decide to kill each other.
Yeah.
Zach Ward makes out with the other two girls.
Because women are things.
Oh, yeah. Uwe Boll, if this was the... Like, I'm convinced he doesn't like women.
I'm thoroughly convinced he doesn't. Because women are 100% things in this movie.
Yeah.
They're either making out or having sex with Dave Foley, with guards as a distraction. Oh. Hey, look. Wow, it's calling me right now. Give me one moment. That's right. No, that's right. That is right. Yeah, no, they are things in this movie. No, I don't endorse it. It certainly does not pass the Bechdel test. Okay. Thanks for calling, Gloria. You have a good one too. Bye-bye. Gloria Steinem, ladies and gentlemen. She just wanted to weigh in on the fact that women are indeed things in this movie and that nobody should watch it.
Are we sure it doesn't pass the Bechdel test?
I'm pretty positive.
Okay.
They're, like I said, they're having sex with Dave Foley. They want to make out with Zach Ward, or they're disgusting fat cheaters.
What about, I guess coffee shop girl?
She doesn't even get a name.
Her name is Faith.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So in Uwe Boll's mind, there's one good woman, the rest are trash.
And, I mean, is she good? Because, I mean, she fucking lost her shit earlier at the at the coffee shop, and she's like,
True.
Here, you get a coffee, get out.
Yeah, but I mean, she does meet up with Zach Ward here, and teams up with him. Can we just quickly go through the rest? So they go to there's a big shootout here at the end.
Just before we get the old guys again, who were talking about Zach Ward's soon-to-be ex-wife.
And how they want to fuck her or whatever.
Well, because she has the clapper at her trailer, so, the lights keep going on and off and on and off. You feel like you're a fucking rock star when you're banging her.
But the cops are banging her. The two cops from earlier. They're taking
Yes.
turns on her. Mm-hmm. And Zach Ward is like, well, fuck this. I'm gonna murder her. So he sets up a bomb outside the trailer.
And while he's driving to the trailer park, what, pray tell, happens?
Oh, he hits a baby.
Hilarious.
In a stroller.
Mm-hmm.
Just crushes it.
Dead babies. So funny. So funny.
So funny.
Edgy and, cutting. A fucking asshole.
So he does that. He also intentionally, I think this was earlier, but he also intentionally runs over the welfare woman.
Yes. Yeah.
So anyway, big shootout between the terrorists, Zach Ward and coffee shop girl, a bunch of other people from around town. He makes this really dumb speech about how they should just get along or whatever.
Well, they should find some common ground. And, of course, somebody shouts out, well, we all hate Jews.
Yeah, and he's like, no, nothing hateful. So they all continue shooting. Osama bin Laden makes it out and calls up Bush to get a helicopter to get him out of there.
Nobody runs out of bullets in this
Nobody runs
shootout.
out of bullets. Nope.
No.
And Zach Ward and the girl eventually make it away. They find out...
when Osama's on the phone getting help from GW, what does he say to him at the end?
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Fucking Wyoming.
Also, that joke, I get that it's a reference to Brokeback Mountain, but, like, why would he say that in context? Why would he say he wants to quit Bush? Like, oh, George W. Bush. He's helping him.
They think it's funny because...
But it's only funny if he was like... I'm not saying you think it's funny, don't get me wrong.
No.
But I'm saying it's only funny if the joke... If, like, they were arguing with each other, and then he said, I wish I knew how to quit you.
Yeah.
It's not funny if he's like, I'll send you a helicopter. Okay, thanks. I wish I knew how to quit you. What? What? He just...
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, bro, with that aside...
The IRS... Oh my god, the IRS show up to the compound.
Oh yeah, and the mentally challenged terrorist is supposed to blow them up, but he didn't put the vest on.
It's in the van with the other guy.
Which blows up, and guess what? The car lands on the job interview guy from earlier.
Right, because that's hilarious.
And take another drink.
Although he does talk about his book, How to Fire Your Employees Without Having Them Go Postal.
Like the movie.
How's about, treating them with respect and not like cattle?
Well, I think that's what the movie's kind of trying to satirize, right?
Trying.
But yeah, like everyone's dead. Except for like Coffee Shop Girl and Zach Ward. So they get away. Did you notice something?
Wait. Did you... Okay, you're saying that the big shootout, don't be a dick, when he shoots Dick.
Oh,
I mean,
Richie.
I nearly fell down laughing.
Yeah, I fell on the floor.
Yeah.
And collapsed into a deep coma.
So, we get a radio report that China and India have launched nuclear missiles.
Oh, hold on. Before that, I just want to mention something real quick.
Okay.
So there's a thing where usually at this point, like the hero and the girl would have their kiss. Mm-hmm. She like does this thing where she kisses her finger and then puts it on his face. And I was like, I bet you that actress was like, no, fuck that.
I'm not kissing Titus's brother.
Yeah, no, I'm good. So anyway, yeah, you said the nukes get launched. And our last little image is Osama bin Laden.
No, wait 1 second, because we have another get it moment. Because Zach Ward says, I regret nothing. And he blows up the truck, which blows up his trailer, which blows up his wife. And of course, acres of fat and blood rain down upon people because there was so much of it because she was fat. Get it?
Yeah.
Fuck.
So, now, the final image is Osama bin Laden and George W. Bush dancing through a field.
As the nuclear holocaust rains down.
The end.
Mm-hmm. Thank God.
That was Postal. Nathan!
Yes, Brendan?
Would you recommend Postal?
Fuck no.
Yeah. This is a bad comedy. This is not just a bad movie. This is a bad comedy. So I would not recommend anyone ever, my worst enemy, or my greatest foe, no one should watch this ever for any reason.
Forcing someone to watch this movie violates several clauses of the Geneva Convention.
Every clause, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no. It's the worst thing we've covered.
Yes, 100%.
Worse than Muck.
Worse than Muck.
Worse than Nick Fury.
Yep.
Worse than Demons of Ludlow.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the worst. But we gotta come down from this a little bit. So we're gonna take a quick break, and we will be right back.
What Were They Thinking is brought to you by HostGator. HostGator is a leading provider of shared, reseller, VPS, and dedicated hosting solutions. Award-winning support is available 24/7, 365 days a year via phone, email, and live chat. Discover why over 9 million websites trust HostGator. Use the coupon code SCHLUCK for 25% off your first purchase. That's SCHLUCK, SCHLOCK, for 25% off your first purchase.
What Were They Thinking is brought to you today by GameItAll.com. Whether it's video game news, the latest in music, or movie reviews, GameItAll.com is your one-stop shop for all nerdy talk. And we're back!
Hey, those ads really, really helped.
they added up.
Right. They offered some solace in the these troubling times where we had to talk about this movie.
But Nathan?
Yes, Brendan.
It is time for the low haiku.
The low haiku, where we take 17 syllables to sum up the abysmal atrocity that we just bore witness to.
Yes.
Brendan, I think you're the one who's actually grossed out by that, so you're really doing this to yourself.
I'm just really testing out the new microphone.
Oh, yes, the new microphone. Merry Christmas.
Okay, so here's my haiku, my low haiku about Postal. Suck my fucking dick. Fuck you, Wyoming, you fuck. I fucking hate you.
Very good, very good, very good.
I was angry.
I feel that mine is in the similar vein.
Okay.
Not one single laugh. I hope he dies in a dumpster that is set on fire.
Agreed. And,
We're back.
I'm back. We're back. We're both back. Ladies and gentlemen, Postal, take our word for it.
Absolutely take our word for it. This fucking thing. 7% on Rotten Tomatoes.
32 from the audience.
That's
Somehow.
high.
That's super high.
Yeah.
Well, Nathan, I want to read the first positive review here.
You found a positive review?
I believe there are 3.
Oh my.
So this is from Prairie Miller at Newsblaze.
So bringing out the big guns, eh?
Yeah. Along the way to its parking lot showdown, a wacky property damage conspiracy to commit insurance fraud is uncovered between Osama and Bush, the darker, zany recesses of America as viewed from the Twilight Zone. Move over, Borat! Borat has more satire in its pinky than this movie has in its entire existence. So,
yep.
Prairie Miller, you can go to hell.
Mark Olson from the Los Angeles Times writes, Postal is largely just a byproduct of Bowles' self-promotion, rendering the film itself, in essence, beside the point. 1.5 out of 5.
Ooh. This is I really want to do the positive ones because they're like
you go right
my
ahead.
Mind. They're blowing my mind. This is from Cam Williams at guess where? Newsblaze. They had to get 2 reviews from the same publication. This person says, I suppose since almost 7 years have passed since 9/11, America might finally be ready to laugh at the tragedy. Tasteless, profane, and far-fetched, but undeniably funny too. Wrong.
Okay, so Peter Hartlau from the San Francisco Chronicle says, if this movie had been made by an unknown young director, a lot of critics would still be panning the movie for its inconsistencies, but many others would be praising his courage. No.
Oh.
Wrong.
I don't usually praise a movie that's overtly racist.
Yeah, when your joke is, get it? I took teeth from dead Holocaust victims to pay Vern Troyer. Ha ha ha.
He, LOL, Rafflecopter.
Right.
This one is from Jim Slotek of Jam Movies. In short, we have a train wreck of a comedy that goes on far longer than you care to watch an actual train wreck, trying too hard to be offensive the entire time and delivering its jokes with the timing of a 2-year-old with a mixing spoon and a soup pot.
Huh. Well,
That is a negative review.
That is. David Newser from Real Film Reviews, I think he feels similar, because the end result is a film that feels as though it's been conceived and executed by a third grader.
That's a negative.
I feel that third graders would make better movies than this.
Yeah, I feel like I made a better movie in my mind when I was in that grade. When I was in third grade. This is there's only a couple of audience ones I grabbed because the critics ones were like almost as good. But this is a really weird. This person has a really weird way of reviewing this movie. This is how they broke it down. Okay. Story. Story 0%. Cast incredibly. I'm reading it as it's written. Incredibly, whore has signed up for this. Acting, well, it borders on theatrics. Claim / massage, there is no. Music / score. Music / score, 0%. Dialogues / language, 0%. Humor, -10%. Look / style, random. Effects, billig %. Camera equipment, 0%.
What?
Thrill / dramatic, 0%. Exciting / dynamic, %. Sex / adult. Most find it disgusting because they think also normal. Only a few people that makes horny or find something sexy. Blood / violence, 50%. Swear word / insults, 50%. To make it short, the movie is of course worse than the game. The only consolation is that the time span is not large, but first, because it is referred to as live action South Park, should immediately Uwe Boll die. No rating.
First of all, the time span is not short. 2 fucking hours of my life I'm never getting back.
Yep. Also, from now on, Nathan, we have to start rating the thrill / dramatic.
Second, this is not live action South Park, okay? South Park.
But that's what it says on the poster.
South Park knows how to be bitey, edgy, and satirical. They can make they know how to make shocking jokes and to make the joke funny, as opposed to just saying Holocaust, now laugh everyone.
Right.
In fact, Brian Tallarico from The Deadbolt sums it up perfectly. What's wrong with Postal can be summed up pretty easily, actually. It's a comedy that's never once funny.
The end.
Mic drop.
So the last one I have here is not from Rotten Tomatoes, but it is a response to a negative review on Wired from Uwe Boll himself.
Oh, great.
So he sent them an email, and of course they published it because it's hilarious. So he says, Chris, and keep in mind, the grammar is terrible. Your review shows me only that you don't understand anything about movies and that you are an untalented wannabe filmmaker with no balls and no understanding what Postal is. You don't see courage because you are nothing. And now go to your mom and fuck her because she cooks for you now since 30 years, so she deserves it. People like you are the reason that independent movies have no chance anymore. Uwe Boll. P.S. Postal is R-rated. The MPAA understood the satire. You not, you dumb fuck.
You not. Okay. Why is it with this guy, it always comes back to humiliating sex?
I don't know.
Every time he tries to attack somebody who has given his, magnum opuses... Opie, I guess, yeah. Thank you for correcting me. You're helping. You really are helping. anytime someone attacks the stuff that he's done, it's always, go suck their dicks because that's what you want to do. Go screw your mother because that's what she deserves.
Because he's a homophobic piece of shit.
Fuck.
He's an everything phobic.
I don't understand how people are like, yeah, I like this guy. I want to see more of his stuff.
Any kind of phobic or ist, he is.
Okay.
Like sexist, racist, homophobic, transphobic, anything like that. I'm sure he shares those views.
Anti-Semitic.
I mean, if like every movie, if we're going by the movie that we just watched that he directed and co-wrote, then yeah, you can't really. I mean, it's a pretty good case. So, I mean, I think that puts a bow on that.
That's it. Yep, that sums it up.
That's it. Bye, everyone. Let's talk. Let's give a little hint-ski. I'm gonna give a little hint-ski of what's coming up on our next major episode, our next main episode.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's a
hint, right?
Yeah, it's a hint.
Okay.
It's our last Patreon pick. I will.
And it's
say
just
as well.
it's like a slight, a little wording to let you know what's coming up next.
Yeah, exactly. So what I will say,
like a teasing line to let them know that there's something's coming and they should figure it out. Proceed.
Thank you. And your hint is, I miss Cheers. Okay.
Okay.
That's our and like I said, it's gonna be it's our last Patreon pick for a while because we just got them all in there. So yeah, and it's a Patreon pick from Danny.
All right.
So keep your eyes open,
Your ears open.
keep your stick on the ice.
If the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy.
Oh, I wish we watched the Red Green movie.
Oh yeah.
So that having been said, Nathan, is Montrose around?
Yes. Just one moment. Come on in. You're done talking about that? Yes? Yeah, we're
Yep.
done. We're done.
Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you. Hello, I am your good friend Montrose Monkington III here, and I have nothing to do with Postal. Nor should any of you. However, what you should be part of is Montrose Monkington TV. That's my YouTube channel where you can see all kinds of delightful videos with myself and my friends, just generally having a good time and enjoying life, not like this movie wants you to do. It hates you and it wants you to die. So don't be like Postal. Be like Montrose Monkington TV. You can also follow me on Facebook, Montrose Monkington III Esquire and Friends, or also on the Twitter devices at Montrose the Third. That's the number 3RD. And you can tweet at me, and I will not say racist and homophobic things like they did in this movie. So thank you. More later.
Thank you, Montrose.
You're welcome. That movie was terrible. Why did you people watch it?
Luke Shannon.
I don't feel that that's an excuse.
He's the one who submitted it.
You know what? I feel now that you and Nathan are just common whores because what you're saying is you've done this for money.
Nathan, are you going to take that?
He's kind of right.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks. We're whores.
I just wanted to say something right now, too. Yeah, like, this movie is fucking terrible, but, like, I am in no way blaming Luke. Like, you have...
No, he is not to blame. He did not make this movie. He is not in any way associated, or... I feel it's because it's based on a video game, and he knew we would hate it because it's Uwe Boll, or Wyoming, rather, and... I mean, he runs game at all. So, of course, you pick a movie that's based on a video game that hasn't been done to death. And, you know, Super Mario Brothers and Alone in the Dark have been done to death.
And we've already done Alone in the Dark.
Right.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, no, it was a good choice, because I know you wanted us to tear it a new one. He actually told me, he's like, this is like the worst thing ever.
Okay, good. I was glad this isn't a situation where like, I really like this movie. I want you guys to cover it.
Yeah, can you playfully talk about it?
We can hatefully talk about it.
All that being said, so let's plug our podcast here. So of course you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at WWTT Podcast. You can also find us on Facebook. Just search What Were They Thinking or What Were They Thinking Interactive. We also have a Facebook group there. We're on all the podcatchers, iTunes / Apple Podcasts. Obviously our home base is Podbean, Spotify, Stitcher, all that stuff. You can also find us on patreon.com / WWTT podcast, or you can just search for us on Patreon. What Were They Thinking? Lots of great stuff that you can sign up for there. Just like our last few episodes, people have been picking the movies, so there's a tier where you can sign up. I think it's like I don't know. You go to the site. It has everything listed.
Think about it too. We've only got 2 movies that we've said 100% hard no to. We just covered Postal. So, bring it on, Internet.
Yeah, exactly. Postal, yeah, wow. So, I mean, we'll pretty much watch anything as long as it's not a Serbian film or Salo.
Right.
So, again, I want to thank Luke for this episode. Hey, we got the Redbubble. We're on the Redbubble, theredbubble.com. Just search for us on there as well.
Purchase stuff with the designs inspired by our show.
That's right. I also have another podcast called For Screen and Country, and that show will actually be returning on January 7th with an episode on the Full Monty, so check that out.
You know, Brendan, I feel Jason suffers a lot less than I do.
We did watch English Patient not that long ago.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, that's nothing. That's... not comparing that to Postal. The slightest. I mean, that's a fair point. Jason does, however, want to come on and talk about Wing Commander at some point, though.
I'm down with that.
And that because that's like one of his least favorite movies.
Freddie Prinze Jr. and Matthew Lillard in a movie about space fighting.
Done. And done.
I think it checks a lot of boxes for our show, actually.
It really does. We still haven't done a Freddie Prinze Jr. movie somehow. And we could literally do his filmography on this show.
Aw, poor Freddie Prinze.
And every episode of Raw that he wrote.
He was actually one of the better writers that they had for that show.
I believe it. He was probably a fan before that, so.
He was.
Yep. Yeah, so that's all that. So yeah, For Screen and Country, you can find it on the Twitter box at BFI_pod, and just it's on Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, so check that out as well. But as we come to the end of this show,
yes,
Nathan, I've got some. No, you know what? We usually ask questions at this point.
Yeah,
we usually ask questions about the film we just watched.
Right. Yep.
This is the worst thing ever.
Yes.
This is the worst thing committed to celluloid.
If that
so far
helps you get through life, it's the worst thing so far.
So far. So I just have one question for everyone that made this movie. What the hell were you thinking?
Fuck yourself.
It's time, let's check our cue, baby. Pair it with a couple brews, baby. We love good movies. We love the bad ones too. So we watch them all and pass their lessons on to you. Oh yeah. Everything I learned from movies helps to make life a little bit groovy. Whether one likes plot holes or gratuitous movies, it's time to get busy with your friend Steve and Izzy at eilfm.podbean.com.
Hi, I'm Jay Batts.
And I'm Michael.
And we're the hosts of a very thought-provoking show called The What If Podcast. On it, we'll explore the big
and little
what ifs of life and steer our listeners toward a better understanding of the
real or hypothetical
situations we might find ourselves in.
or not. On our journey, we'll learn interesting facts and fictions about the everyday world. And sometimes,
Most of the times,
we'll dive headlong into rabbit holes that slide up against the subject and sharply turn away from it.
come along with us. We'll have fun and learn something new together. New episodes release every other Tuesday. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Music, and anywhere fine podcasts are archived.